Hey, I'm Joe,
I'm Java.
and this is Oddcast review of Quantumania. All right, that was a thing that you could do. That was a thing that just happened.
It did.
So first things first, I just want to throw this out there. I feel like a dummy.
Why is that?
Did you realize that Quantumania contains the words Ant-Man? Because I did not. Until they did it in the ending credits scroll, and then I immediately went, you mean to tell me it was a dad joke this whole time and I missed it? Ugh. But yeah, I'm going to take it based on that reaction that you did not realize that Ant-Man is inside of Quantumania.
Is that what I missed when I dropped my phone?
Maybe.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, no. When they spelled it, and then I was like, son of a bitch.
That's the best.
It's a dad joke this whole time, just slid under the radar.
Oh, my God.
But that said, is Ant-Man Quantumania worth getting all this flack? We're going to dive into it in a spoiler review. Yeah, so I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Quantumania is the lowest ranked and scored Marvel film.
What?
The second most. Sorry, second
most. How about the Eternals, I mean?
No, actually, I think the lowest one is still Thor: The Dark World. But this is the lowest one, but not for audience participation. Audience scores have it in the 80s. Critic scores have it in the 40s.
Sure, the critics.
But yeah, so there's definitely a gap there of between them. So the question is it worth? Does it deserve all the flack it's getting?
Well, what kind of flack? I thought it was very well done. I enjoyed the heck out of the movie.
But then again, we fall into the audience category, and I think that part of what we're going to do is stick up for the little guy. So
that's in a movie.
Yeah, that was a movie reference. But I thought that it was very well written.
I did too.
I also thought that it did a good job of balancing the tonal structure of what was going on, meaning it balanced it with here's some comedy, here's some action, here's some drama, but it's not like drama. It's more like here's some menace. That's a good term. Menace. Here's some menace.
The stakes were well laid out throughout the whole movie, and I very much enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed how they handled the overall dealing with the multiverse in this, because I was like, all right, here we go.
Well, yeah, because now we know that this is the first movie in Phase 5, which means that we have begun... I mean, we technically already did, but we are now well into the multiversal saga, so it is, how do we continue that path? And I think that this one did a good job of balancing that stuff, like what we just said, better than I'd say Thor, Love and Thunder, which, if you haven't watched my review of that, I definitely had some problems with the pacing and storytelling.
They skipped all over the place in that movie.
Yeah, the tonal shifts were very off-putting in that. But in this one, it was very much a dive right in, here's the call to action, and now you are in a visually stunning setting, which I watched tonight for the first time in 3D, and I got to tell you, the 3D experience was... I thought it lent itself really well to this film.
It did, especially during the sequence with the... what is it called?
I don't know, like the moths? Are you talking about the water?
I was talking about when the fight. The probability bomb thing.
Yes, the probability storm.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, during the probability storm, I thought that, so all of those things were really good, and the context was there, and it built layers onto what was needed. And that was all done with writing, the directing, and the visual production, just great.
Great job, guys.
It was really kind of like I want to say Doctor Strange-esque.
It really was.
It has to be out there because it's an out there concept. Because what they've done is they pulled the Microverse from the comics and they just made it into the quantum realm and threw in kind of the Micronauts, which I thought was pretty cool to see them.
That's who they were.
But they're not really them because they're an unidentified group of characters in the Microverse that fight and stand up for the little guy. Micronauts. That's essentially what they were without being them.
The little guy, the little jelly dude. He was so cute. Oh,
and voiced by one of the original, the ex-convicts. He's the Russian dude, the one who's like the Baba Yaga.
Oh!
Same guy.
I was wondering what happened to him and T.I. the whole time.
One of the things that Paige and I both agreed this movie was lacking was Luis. We need him back. As a matter of fact, if you could just make him part of it every time. Just have him explain the multiverse at the beginning of every movie. I think that'd be great. Too comedic? Probably. But worth it? Yeah, probably so.
I would have loved him to just deliver some ice cream to them right before they got sucked into the quantum realm? Because he could have explained where he's been.
No, like,
that would be great.
Just hear me out here. So, I don't know the character's name in this one, but Chidi can read the minds of Luis, who's trying to explain what's happening. I just feel like that would have been a really fun dynamic, and it's not too late. Like, they could still do that.
Fun.
They could still do it. So, that said, some of the ridiculous stuff that happens in it, you've got MODOK, who is a crazy villain to bring into anything, and I thought that they actually did it well.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, MODOK's a hard one to
like how do you explain
anything
with? Big head, little body.
But then when they showed his malfunctioning suit, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense why his head's giant. He didn't even show his little naked booty.
Yeah, and I thought that it was well done. Like, and kudos to you for finding a way to make it fun, bring it in, and make it involved.
He's
and of
not
course,
a dick.
The death scene, so good. At least I died an Avenger. Yeah, bud.
Yeah.
You did.
Sure.
You did.
Buddy.
But also, this movie did something that I didn't realize was happening. So, my favorite ship to be, meaning it's a love ship that has not sailed yet.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't fully realized itself, started in Hawkeye. And that is Black Widow and Hawkeye, meaning the new Black Widow, the new Black Widow, Yelena, and the new Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, have kind of a Dalian's romance thing kind of going on. But this movie set up what I think is going to be my favorite love triangle in Marvel, because I'm pretty sure Stature is going to get in on that action too.
Oh, you think though?
They laid the layers. Nobody can afford rent right now unless you're some trust fund prick, was how they framed it. And who do we know that just happens to be a trust fund baby?
Oh,
Kate Bishop. They definitely layered some sapphic erotica into Hawkeye.
What are we doing? I mean, it's Christmas Eve. Let's grab a drink, huh? Okay. Ow! That really hurts. Yeah, it was sort of the kick to the ribs. Oh, yeah. That was a good one. Mm-hmm. That was good form. But you did a really cool body throw.
Yeah, thank you. Stop making me like you.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
And I don't think that it's just me that picked up on it. And the way that Stature / Stinger / Cassie / Ellie from The Last of Us, because that is who that girl reminds me of super heavily, was checking out the female resistance of the rebellion, which I don't blame her. Like,
she was a beast.
But
oh man.
I get the feelings that there's feelings there, and I just feel like if you were gonna do a love triangle, that's the one I want to see.
Well, that's beautiful, because like 40% of the young Avengers are gay or something LGBT.
Yeah.
So it works out.
Because isn't it Wiccan and Scar?
Hulkling?
Or Hulkling, yeah.
Oh God, please don't make it Scar. But I guess they'd have to, because they have to explain.
They could. I mean, they've got things that they could do. I don't know.
They can still do the skull.
But you could make that a love triangle too. Wiccan torn between
those two green people.
Yeah. I think most people would be okay with that. But
you like it, I love it.
And you've got Kang, of course, setting up the multiverse saga.
Ooh.
And that, of course, brings us to the idea of, like, Marvel has done this great job of showing that there is always room to grow.
Yeah.
Because they constantly grow with what they're doing, but they do it in these ways of, like, building blocks. So the Time Stone is housed in the Eye of Agamotto. Yeah. It is circles. It opens in a circular pattern, much the way that much the way that the door opens inside of the quantum realm.
It did.
The little box that deals with multiversal magic that Doctor Strange set up, the inside of that looks identical to Kang's engine.
It does.
Except it wraps around and does the circular thing. So they've built this established item of, like, this is what time tech and this is what the circles look like. And then, of course, you have Kang in the end using Richard's technology.
The platforms.
Yeah, well, not just the platforms, but also he drops through them in teleportation style, much the way that Reed does in Multiverse of Madness.
It's very true.
So they're layering these ideas of, like, here are some things that have already happened.
He's using Celestial tech and he's using Reed's tech. Well, his lineage, so that makes sense.
And then Multiversal Tech also has, like, the weird symbols on them.
That's the Celestials.
Yeah, well, and Celestial Tech then falls under Miss Marvel.
It does.
and it falls under Shang-Chi
They
because
have
they have
woven
the
the
tech.
heck out of this tapestry. Man.
Even though you don't realize it, because in Phase 4, everybody's like, well, who's the big bad supposed to be?
Just wait.
And the big bad in Phase 4 was, of course, Grief.
Mm-hmm.
So a conceptual villain as opposed to a physical villain. But now...
But it's a good structural storytelling device, though.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. Which brings us to how much fun do you think Jonathan Majors is having? Because he gets to play like every character that you could ever want. He started off strong in Loki season 1 as He Who Remains, and now he's just continuing that trend. But he gets to play a different one every single time.
You could tell on his face how much he was about to like just bust out of his shell playing with some of those different ones. Like the dude that turned around was like, yes!
You got a Skrull version, a Kree version.
Oh my god!
And then you've got, of course, the big three, which are the Scarlet Centaurian.
The Pharaoh.
Yeah, but the Pharaoh is Rama Tut. Yeah. But I have a theory that Rama Tut is actually Alexander the Great.
Well, he's also Douglas Franklin Douglas. Who was
Richards?
Franklin. No. Well, that when he's that too.
Yeah, but no,
Frederick Douglass. That's what I was thinking.
No, the character that he was in the beginning there, or at the very end rather, that's Victor Timely. Victor Timely is one of the other incarnations of Kang, and Victor claims that he has a way to change time, which is different than what everybody else has done, where they have to play back into the loop. Victor is claiming that he has found a way to break the chain, which is what makes Loki 2's stakes so high, because in Season 2, he is fighting Kang, who has now conquered everything. Well, at least the TVA. But yeah, so hear me out. So I think that Rama Tut is Alexander the Great, because if you look at the sarcophagus in Moon Knight, it has those 2 lines on it, which make Kang famous.
Oh,
and
my God.
Amit judges people for what they do in the future before they've even done it. And
that's clever as crap.
And who would betray Amit except for a time traveler who's guilty of the homicide of multiple timelines? She chose him as a avatar and then realized, oh man, this guy is crazy. And or he did a good job of hiding it from her and took her power so that he could do whatever it is he needed to do.
My mind is blown right now. That's crazy. All the stuff I did not pay attention to.
The design of his fortress in the quantum realm is, of course, a pyramid. And I'm not just saying that's because of Rama Tut, but I mean,
it makes sense.
It kind of aligns. So I'm just saying, like, if Marvel has done this tapestry thing that they've done all along through the Infinity Saga, and they've started it now in the Multiversal Saga, I think that they're off to a running start.
They are. They're doing pretty good.
And I think that if there are haters out there who just don't want to watch it, or just think,
don't watch it.
Ant-Man, don't watch it. It's totally worthwhile. Also, Kang did not know who Scott Lang was, but he did know who Ant-Man was. Because the way that he looked at Hank, when Hank rolled up in that last battle, I was like, oh, he knew who that person was.
So that means
there's something there
with him at some point.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was good.
Janet, now, I love the unfolding of what Janet did, because you could really see, well, obviously Michelle knew what her storyline was going to be during this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But the way it unfolded, she delivered that beautifully, and I loved that all those stakes, just the through line of all that coming back onto her was built perfectly too. Oh
yeah, and I think that it's great that they deleted that scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp so that they could put it in here, where she explains that it's universes upon universes upon universes, because putting it into that one would have changed the stakes of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I think putting it into this one is definitely the way to do it. Now, I've got a big question for you, and this is my own personal theory that I am anxious to see if they pull it off, and I want to see if you get the same feeling.
Okay.
I don't think Scott is in our universe anymore.
I did too. That's the first thing I thought when he came back. Oh my God. Because they pulled him back and they just...
Yeah, I don't think that him and Hope are in our universe. I'm not even sure if that's our Hope, Hope that went through.
Yeah, that came to save him.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Because the door opened.
Just
and then
randomly.
it closed. So Hope coming through, yeah, I can kind of see that. But then they closed it and it opened again because Cassie could figure it out. Okay, acceptable. Either Ant-Man himself, Ant-Man and Hope, or the entirety of that team, I don't think they're in Designation 616 anymore.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
I don't think they're there.
Yeah, when they went back, either the group went to a different Earth, and Hope came back and went back to the main Earth with Scott, or they're separate people.
Correct. And I think that I just think that there's something there. And I think that they did this great job of like hiding it in plain sight. Because Scott goes through like a loop of time himself in the beginning where like he's got this kind of steady pattern and beat. And then he returns after his adventure in the quantum realm and suddenly small things have changed. But not like everything. But like the guy suddenly realizes that he's not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's
you, Spider-Man.
Yeah, that he's Bugman and now he's charging him. Like, that seems like a small break, but then when he bites into the cake, Baskin-Robbins makes ice cream cakes. The ice cream is made in store, but it's made by machines.
Yeah.
I don't think that the ice cream is going to taste off, even though that guy hasn't made a cake since 97. I think that the cake tastes normal to everybody in that timeline.
Yeah.
Because it's a small change. Just enough to where something's off, but not enough to where it would immediately ring bells of like, oh, something's wrong. And I might be wrong. I have to go back and watch it, but are they at the same restaurant that they were at the end of Shang-Chi?
Yes, I think it was.
Because it looked similar.
I was wondering what was so like
familiar
about this restaurant.
Familiar
like I said,
and yet slightly different, as in something was just slightly off. But that's my theory.
We're on to you, Marvel.
I'm interested to see if that's where they go with it. So, not that we do numerical ratings, but I definitely think that it gets a grade of probably like a B. I'd say it's a solid B movie.
I could say it's a B.
I would not give it an A. There's definitely some parts that I think could have been fleshed out a little bit better, but I mean, in 2 hours, I think they did a pretty good job of storytelling.
The acting was fantastic.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Majors, anytime he's on screen, captivating.
God,
like just and the fist fight between him and Ant-Man. I'm totally psyched to watch Creed 3. I'm ready for it now. I know that I've got friends who are going to be in that theater rooting for him. Demi, that's for you.
Yeah.
I think that as long as Jonathan Majors, who gets to play
everyone,
he gets to be the villain in essentially every Marvel movie from this point from now on. Like, just gets to do it. He's the villain.
Just dust him off. It'll work.
You could just sprinkle him in there. He's essentially your stinger at the end of everything. Like, oh, they failed? Oh, Kang's here now.
Send another one.
Just anytime you want. But that said, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit that like, subscribe, and little bell for notifications. This has been Joe.
And Java.
And this has been Oddcast. Thanks for joining. Have a great one. And watch out for Kang, because he's coming.
He's conquering.
See you soon.